Agua. It's time to get the day started. It's time to get the party potted. Time to fart your day start. Time to start and fart your day. Time to fart your day into the existence. Into the existence of the world. Into the world of its existence. Existence. We're existing here. We're existing. We're existing. Hello. Me. Your boy Rasta Monster. Hello. It's me. I'm the problem, it's me. On tea time, everybody agrees.
Folks at home, welcome back to the Crimson
check. Mic check. It's working. What the fuck happened? That was fucked. That was fucked. What's up, guys? What's up, y'all? That fucking pissed me off. That took a hot minute for me to figure it out. I mean, I don't even know what I did to fix it. I have no clue what I did to fix it. I need that. Need that. That. You fucking move that shit on my face? Alrighty then. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? You living the dream? Alrighty then.
In Oak Pond, and today we are going to be touring the Titan Bass Hatchery, and they specialize in hatching these tiny 100% Florida strain bass and growing some giant, potential record-breaking fish. And they made some major discoveries when it comes to a largemouth bass's DNA that we're going to be explaining here in just a minute. But to become a world record bass, a lot has to happen to go from this small to this big. And to
Holy
become a world
crap.
record, a bass has to have three things: an abundance of forage to eat, the right genetics to allow them to grow really big, and last but not least, good water quality. But I have to start out by saying that the world
It
record has been
goes,
held
man.
for
How goes
nearly
it with you?
100 years, as this fish was caught by George Perry in 1932, weighing 22 pounds and 4 ounces. And then in 2009, a Japanese angler named Manabu Kurita caught a 22.497 ounce bass, but it only tied the world record because in order to break the record, you have to beat it by at least 2 ounces. But the unofficial world record was a bass named Dottie that weighed 25 pounds and an ounce, but she was never an official world record because she was foul hooked, which excluded her from the record book.
What is
So now
foul
let's head over to the
hooked?
Titan Bass facility and see how they've unlocked the secret
Caught by a part of its body other than its mouth, such as a. Oh, interesting.
to growing really big bass. So Titan has some of the world's leading fisheries biologists, and they've spent years studying the DNA of really big bass. And what they found is that all of these really big bass have what's called a trophy marker, and they've identified 12 different trophy markers, so they can sample a fish's DNA and tell you how likely it is for that bass to become a really big fish. And the best part about this is that they can sample these bass at a really young age. So let's say, for example, a bass has 100 fry, and only 3 or 4 of those even have the potential to reach
Okay.
10 pounds. And so by being able
I've
to
been Star
identify those 3 at a
Citizen.
really young
I've been
age
on the
is an
Star Citizen
extremely
grind.
valuable tool, especially when it comes to pond management. But that's just the beginning. They've gone much further than that, which I'll be talking about more in just a moment. But first, let's take a tour of the hatchery. So fish hatcheries are largely made up of holding tanks, and the goal for this hatchery is to pair up those male and female fish that have really good genetics and see how those traits are passed down through their offspring. And they start out by placing these black spawning mats in these tanks, and the female bass will come along and deposit the eggs. Then the male bass fertilizes the eggs, and then they remove the mat into a smaller holding tank, and within a couple of days the fish eggs will hatch. And in this case, a new family of Titan bass will be born. And as you can see here, we have a family of 1-day-old largemouth bass. But if you're going to become a trophy or even a world record, bulking season starts on day 1. And I found this to be really interesting, and they feed these tiny bass what's known as a sea monkey. And this was one of my favorite parts about visiting this hatchery, is you get to see things you typically couldn't see in a pond or lake, like a bass being born, and all of these details at the microscopic level. And even at the 5-acre pond where we try to create that fertile bloom full of the phytoplankton to feed those newly hatched fish, well, you're getting to see this lets us see an up-close look at what's really happening beneath the water surface. And throughout the first days of a bass's life, he's feeding heavily on things like plankton, or in this case, a fairy shrimp. And if you look closely, those smaller white specks are plankton bouncing around. So I loved getting to see all the finer details that kickstart the life of a baby bass. So here we have another group of bass that are about 2 days old. And for all of these fry that hatch, they keep that family in a tank together so they can study the DNA as well as which traits were passed down from the parents. So after these bass have gotten a little older and are about 2 inches long, that's when they start introducing the protein pellets to them. And for some pond owners, this can be a big plus because a lot of people like to feed train their bass. And it's basically
great.
the same thing that we do
I
with our
fucking love it.
bluegills and the protein pellet feeders.
It's amazing.
But if you start a bass out on protein pellets at
Just
a
like,
really
look at this
early
game,
age,
bro.
they'll continue eating them.
There's
which just
nothing.
becomes
There's
another
nothing
good
that
food
beats it,
source.
bro.
And Titan
It's
shows
open
that you
world.
can
You
put
can do
100
whatever you
people
want.
staying bass,
You can
because
fly
as
through
we all
the
know, that's
fucking
almost train a
worlds.
bass that can reach
It's
that world
best.
record size.
It's the
And after
best.
bass have gotten a
There's
little
no.
older, they go through and take
If
DNA
you could
samples from each
put the
fish and
bugs
identify which
past
of those
yourself,
have the
if you
trophy
can look
marker
past the
and can
bugs.
separate those from the rest. So how cool would that
Look at
be to
this.
stock your pond or lake, knowing that every bass that you put in there had the potential to become a 10-pounder or bigger? But at Titan, they don't just look at genetics; they also look at
Look at this.
catchability.
You don't
Because
get
most
these
pond
type of
owners don't wanna grow a
interactions
big bass if they
anywhere
can't
else.
catch it. But there's a reason
Anywhere
they call
else.
it trophy potential, and that's because even if a fish has the best genetics in the world, there's factors in its environment that can keep it from getting really big. And one of those that we don't talk about enough is water quality. And when I toured this hatchery, that was one of the things that impressed me the most, and that's the extreme measures they went through to make sure that these fish had optimum water quality. And as you can see, they're constantly pumping water in and out of these tanks. But before it ever gets there, it goes through a filtration process, which starts out by going through a drum screen, which filters out those bigger particulates. And then it goes through a UV sterilizer, which removes the bacteria. And next it goes through a bioreactor, which filters out the chemicals. And after that, it goes through a degasser, which strips out things like carbon dioxide and adds oxygen back into the water. And after that, it's pumped into their tanks. So as you can see, these bass are living in the cleanest water possible. But Titan took it one step further because they wanted their bass to be able to spawn multiple times a year. And they do this by pumping well water in, which stays 70 degrees all year long. And that just so happens to be the perfect water temperature for these bass to spawn in. And their biologist explained it to me and said that spawning is basically 80% water temperature and 20% light. And since that water temperature is the same all year long, they can adjust the light and trigger these bass to spawn. And the reason this is such a big deal is because
That's why this
old school
game's
ways
awesome,
of
bro.
studying fish reproduction, you would only get one spawn per year, and by the time you waited for those fish to grow up to see which of those good traits were passed down from the parents, you could be talking about years to do one study. Well, now not only can they get multiple spawns, since they know which fish have trophy potential, they can start breeding these fish for the best genetics at a really early age. So some hatcheries use a 12-pound female and a 5-pound male. Well, here they can use a 2-pound female and a 1-pound male and still get those really good genetics. Now I was also surprised to see the goldfish tanks, and that's because these goldfish are the primary food source for the hatchery bass. And it's for the same reasons that the bass love the golden shiners that we feed them. They don't have a spine, which can make it hard to digest, and they're also a really good source of protein. But for any bass to reach a trophy or world record potential, they basically can't take any weeks or even days off. They
Yeah!
live in good water conditions and have to eat a lot of food, because the average lifespan of a bass is 12 to 15 years. It may take 12 or 13 years to grow to 22 pounds. So if there's a setback during that fish's lifetime, it's most likely not going to make it there, and that's why that world record has stood for so long. But another thing I mentioned they do here at the Titan facility is catchability tests. And I can tell just from watching them drop the goldfish in that some of the bass in these tanks were more aggressive than others, but they do lure tests as well. And they'll tie lures on, drop them in each tank, and document how many times a bass struck the lure, and they use that to help them determine their catchability. Because if you ever hear people talk about the Florida strain largemouth, that's the only negative comment you'll typically ever hear.
I gotta take a ship that they can't fucking move with their stupid ass
Well, by
thing.
studying the catchability of each of these families of bass, they're able to spawn those more aggressive bass, which passes those traits down to their offspring. And I have to point out that they aren't genetically modifying anything. They're just finding those fish with the best genetics and traits, and then spawning them together to create more and more of that type of fish. And the 5-acre pond is a perfect example. While most of our fish are aggressive, their growth rates are all across the board. In 3.5 years of growth, some of them maxed out at 2 to 3 pounds, while a couple of them grew to over 8 pounds. And that's very common for most pond owners. You have a few outliers, and the rest are all across the board. So at the end of the day, if you get fish from this hatchery, and you can maintain optimal water conditions and provide plenty of food, then your chances of growing trophy fish have increased substantially. And so we also wanted to bring a couple of these Titan bass back to the 5-acre pond to help spread those genetics for the future generations of bass in our pond. And the guys here at the hatchery let me and Nate catch a couple of these bass out of their pond to bring back to ours. And it was a lot like Florida style fishing with grass and clear water, and it didn't take Nate long at all to catch a nice female.
Yep, he's coming down to get it. He got it.
The small one.
Yeah, that was the small one. Yep. Yep, you can see. Yes, he's in the spawning process.
And I also enjoyed seeing the other animals that lived here, like the alligator. But the coolest thing that I got to see was an eagle chasing away a wood stork. That's something
that
I
a
don't get to
bald
see every
eagle?
day. It's typically eagles chasing away ospreys. So in addition to the one bigger female that we caught, we also wanted to bring some of those smaller fingerlings back. And these were just a little bit bigger than the size we stocked the pond with. And we decided to bring about 40 fingerlings because their survival rate is going to be much lower than that one adult that we brought back. So we put them in a holding container and put the smaller bass in a
How you
mesh
liking
sack.
how?
So the big bass didn't eat them on the
What's
trip
my
home.
cat doing?
But alright, we made it back to the farm. The fish are doing great. The first thing we're going to do is start acclimating them by putting some of the 5-acre pond water into their holding tank. Alright, he weighs 2.73 pounds. And we put a tag in the Titan bass, and I'm going to let you all name it in a comment down below. You probably want to win this one because there's a chance it could grow really big. Alright, now it's time to add all the fingerling bass, and I purposely put them in the shallowest water possible to help increase their chances of survival. It might have been a little too shallow, but if these little guys will stay right here in this general area...
Alright, I got everything I need
to
to accomplish this mission now.
Previous videos, all the bass
But
in
my
this
guy's
pond are
super
hybrids,
slow because I got
and
all these
after
guns on
hybrids
me.
breed with other hybrids for multiple years, their quality of genetics starts going down. So it's typically a really good idea to introduce a new species like this 100% Florida strain, which should really help those future generations of bass in this pond. And hey, look who it is out here at the pond at night, out past his bedtime. George Jones taking a drink of water out of the pond. Alright, but now we're back here at the Crimson Oak Pond, and if you guys missed it, a few videos back, we took DNA samples of some of the bass in this pond. We got those results back in, but we're going to show you those in just a minute because the fish delivery truck is here. And like I mentioned, one of the things you have to do to grow trophy bass is make sure they've always got plenty to eat. And that's why we're stocking 10,000 of these adult golden shiners. And they're by far one of the favorite things to eat for these bass. Man, look at that. These are some jumbos. I know these fish are about to be hatched. And some of you guys may be thinking, man, you sure do stock the golden shiners a lot. Well, it's because the bass like them so much, they'll completely wipe them out. And they'll swim right past a threadfin, a bluegill, a tilapia, and even a prawn to get one of these golden shiners. But I can also only get these adult golden shiners in the spring and in the fall because that's the time they get home the best. Shiners don't do great when it's really hot, so we like to try to add 2 loads a year, one around March and the other around November. And if you missed the last video, we were doing an electroshocking survey, and we actually found that we had a big group of gizzard shad, which bait like big gizzard shad, because that's the type of food these fish like to eat. That's when you know you got some big ones coming down the pipe, when they can
What?
clog that thing up. But here's one last look at it. Man, that's the perfect bass snack. And I love sitting out here right after we stock these, because the bass will chase them all across the pond. Everywhere you see those shiners jumping out of the water, there's a bass beneath them with his mouth
Here.
open, getting ready to eat. Man, look at that, it's feeding time. But it also doesn't take the shiners long at all to school up, because that's going to be their best chances
All right,
of survival,
thank you.
getting in a pack and working
I should have
together.
bought
But
two.
take a look at the size comparison.
should have gotten
of the
another one
smaller
while I was
baitfish
out.
fry compared to one of those adult shiners. These bass could either eat one big shiner or a dozen of those smaller fish, so it's not surprising at all why they prefer the bigger ones. But the bass aren't the only ones that are happy to see the bait fish arrive. The bald eagles love them too. And check that out, a bass busting right beside a bald eagle. It doesn't get much better than that. But after the shiner delivery,
Bass busting right next to a bald eagle. Ain't nothing better than that. You know me, I'm from the South. I'm from Alabama.
That's also not the only bird that's happy to see us. Kingfisher is ecstatic. Although these may be a little bit too big for him to eat, but I'm sure he can find worse. And it's almost like Mother Nature's done
I'm going fishing this weekend.
as they all show up at once, as the osprey flew up to the eagle tower to eat him a snack.
I'm going fishing this weekend.
I think you guys identified them in the past, but I forgot what you called them. But they're a little duo, and I see them out here every day with those long beaks, probably targeting more of those fry size fish. So Liz and I've been doing some pond hopping recently and using these electric e-bikes to go from pond to pond. And let's just say when you live in the hills like we do, sometimes you need a little boost to get to the top. And it has wide tires that let you take it off-road.
Yeah, this guy, his country twang.
Take the kids for a ride. And we've put some miles on these bikes in the last couple of years, traveling over
Is-
400 miles. But this
is a
white
fucking-
spot on top.
That was a
He's getting
ad.
big, almost as big as some of these largemouths. But whenever they see me show up, they know it's feeding time, and I wouldn't put all those shiners in the 5-acre pond without saving a bucket full of them for these bass. And something else interesting that I talked to the biologist about at Titan, during his studies, he found that a lot of the world record potential bass lived in clear water ecosystems like we have here at Cedar Falls. For example, some of those lakes out in California are really clear and known for growing really big bass. So it's also going to be interesting to track
Look
the
at
growth
these
rates of
bass,
here in
man.
Cedar Falls and compare
Look
them to
at these
those in the 5-acre
things.
pond. Although we probably feed these bass here in this pond a little more, so it may not be the best case study. Alright, now it's time to head over to the backyard pond where we have some active bluegills right out here off the dock. And if you guys missed our last video, we had a really cool situation while we were feeding the bluegills some pellets. We had a pretty good sized bass come up chasing some of the bluegills around, but no matter how hard he tried, he never could catch one of them, and it was like he was struggling the whole time. So I asked you guys to help me name him, and several of you said that I should name him Can't Get Right. I think that's a perfect name for him. Can't get right, can't catch a bluegill. But I also noticed something else interesting right here off the dock earlier this week. I saw a small bass hanging out in a brush pile, and anytime a bluegill would come around, it would chase him off. Kind of looked a little bit like spawning behavior, and sure enough, whenever I came out to check the green light at night, that bass had spawned and there were hundreds of baby bass fry hanging out right here around the dock. And if you guys recall, a couple of weeks ago, we had a big plankton bloom right here in this same area, and I'm sure that's another one of the reasons these bass are congregated right here. They're probably drawn to that green light, and also eating all the plankton and insects that come with it. But you know, with an older pond like our backyard pond, this would be another good candidate for introducing some of those Titan bass genetics, because after 20 years of these bass spawning with each other, you've got siblings and cousins, and a lot of that DNA is crossed over, and what's left is those undesirable genetics, leading to stunted bass.
Driving out to New York today, bro.
Potential could help to turn a pond like this around, as well as removing a lot of those smaller fish. Oh, but look who finally showed up. Might just be that male hanging around Fry Garden. Alright, one more update from the last video. One of the local favorites here at this pond is a soft-shelled turtle we call Taco. And we found out last week he had a girlfriend, and you guys love the idea of calling Taco's girlfriend Belle. But speaking of girlfriends, one of the mallard drakes finally had a hen show up. He has followed her around the pond from daylight to dark. And it's funny because he left the bachelor group of ducks that used to hang out right here on the point. And they're a lot of fun to watch because they also have some personality. But I'm not sure if these are wild ducks that just gotten tamed over the years or what. This is the first time that I was able to get really close to them, and they didn't seem to mind me being around at all. But I wasn't the only one that was surprised to see him. My cat Buster was also really intrigued because he had never seen a duck before. So this could get interesting. But they looked to be a little hungry, so I tried tossing some of the protein pellets over there, and they definitely seemed like they were interested. But I think whenever the bluegills started popping the surface, they started to get a little cautious, and I don't blame them. Knowing that there's an alligator in this pond, I would be too. But you guys know that anything that's friendly and has a personality, we have to name it on this channel. So leave some comments down below on what you think we should name the bachelor group of ducks. And hopefully they stay around, because Buster seems really, really interesting. Alright, but like I mentioned, several weeks back, Liz and I caught a bunch of fish out of this pond. We took some fin clips, sent it off to a lab, and we just got the results back. And the three main things we're going to learn from this is what type of strain they are, if they're related, and their trophy potential. And of the 9 bass we took DNA samples of, 62% of them were northern strain, and 37% were Florida strain. And one of the key metrics I wanted to see in this test, and I was really surprised to see that almost 90% were unrelated. And for the trophy potential, they mainly do this type of score on a pure Florida strain largemouth. So we can't look too much into the scores for that on these hybrid bass. Now let's look at the column that shows the strain of bass they are. So the top 3 on this list were original bass that we put in the pond, and you can see how they're pretty close to a 50-50 split. But that number started to change in the 2nd and 3rd generations, and we're going to talk more about that here in just a second. Because as you can see, we started to pick up more northern strain
I guess I could
genetics,
create them.
which has that more aggressive trait in it.
All good.
But when we initially
I'll
stocked the
just
pond with a few
craft
hundred
them when I'm in
fingerlings,
here.
I didn't know if they all came from related families of bass in the same hatchery, but as this shows, based on the fish we sampled, most were unrelated, which definitely helps out with future generations, because you don't want those siblings and cousins being the predominant spawners in the pond. But if there's one big shocking thing I learned from DNA testing these bass, look at bass that has the ID 1749 and is a 98.3% northern strain bass. So if you missed that video, the goal was to catch Moby out of Cedar Falls, because he's the most aggressive bass I've ever seen, and I really wanted to see what kind of genetics he had. Well, as I dropped the bait down, Johnny grabbed it, so I caught him. He was in great shape, had beautiful color patterns, was very healthy, weighing in at over 4 pounds. So if you guys recall, I caught Johnny after the first successful spawn here, and he was one of our 2nd generation bass that we moved over to Cedar Falls. And you can see his growth rate and numbers are incredible. He's got 139% relative weight, because we basically feed him all he can eat. But the reason this surprises me so much is because his parents were hybrid 50-50 split. So typically whenever you see 2 hybrids reproduce, their offspring's numbers will shift as well. So one of the fry may have 75% northern strain, 25% Florida, and from reading online, that's a pretty common range, where those genetics may shift one direction to about 70 or 75%. Well, Johnny almost shifted to a complete northern strain bass, coming in at 98.3% northern, which is very interesting, and I'm wondering if the Cedar Falls pond plays any role in that. And the reason I'm curious about that is because when I was talking with a biologist, he said that even if you stock hybrid bass in a particular body of water, typically their environment plays a big role and impacts their. So for instance, if you have hybrids in a northern pond, then you're going to start seeing a lot of those northern traits in future generations, and eventually after several spawning seasons, you may have completely northern bass. Well, what's interesting is Cedar Falls is set up more of what I would call like a northern style pond, with waterfalls and big boulders. I would just consider this more of like a smallmouth habitat that you predominantly find more of up north. So now I'm really interested to test more of these bass here in Cedar Falls to see if that northern DNA is showing up in these other fish like it did with Johnny. And not to mention, it is one of my top priorities to do a DNA test on Moby, because if you could reproduce his genetics and have a pond full of Mobies, that would quite possibly be the most enjoyable pond to fish in the world. So hopefully today I didn't bore you guys with a lot of the DNA and scientific side of bass, but I really do find it fascinating, and I think that some of the things that these biologists are learning are really going to impact fisheries and even world record bass here in the future. But for me, it's been a lot of fun to document these bass with fit tags, and now that we even know more on the DNA side of things, if nothing else, it helps us plan for the future and is going to make this pond better for years to come. Alright, now let's head over to the 300-gallon aquarium, where we're feeding the 2 alligator gar that we call Garfield and Odie some live shiners. And Garfield's pretty good at catching them, but let's just say Odie struggles a little bit. So they always have their best chance of catching them right after I put the shiners in the aquarium, because they're not acclimated and they don't even know there's a threat yet. But you'll watch Odie whiff at a lot of them before he ever catches them. There's another character that lives in this aquarium, and we call him Mudbug. Anytime we put shiners in, he comes rushing out of his hiding spot, claws up in the air.
He's a dead
He's
guy.
a lot like Garfield. It doesn't take him long to catch him, as he's got one already. Got him. And check that out, their bellies are poking out. You can see they probably ate too much. And that's pretty obvious because the shiner's tickling the nose of the gar with
How
his
come I
tail,
can't loot this guy?
and he still doesn't mess with them. They definitely ate too much. Alright, we're back here at the backyard line this morning. Can't get right showed back up during the feeding. And what's really interesting to me is if you watch these bluegill, they don't seem to mind him being around at all. Because I feel like he's about a 4-pound bass who could eat some of these guys. But some of these bluegill will swim right up to him, even touching his tail. So I really don't understand that. But just like the other day, during the feeding times, he'll come up and nip at some of the bluegills. Sometimes exert a lot of effort trying to catch them. But for some reason, he can't do it. So I definitely think we need to bring some shiners out here and feed him a smaller bait that's on the nose and the edge. Because if not, he can get right and end up starving. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? His mouth definitely looks big enough to eat one. He just can't catch him. Alright, there's always a lot of action the week after we deliver shiners. Got the bass and the herons eating good. And look at the old fluffy egret coming out. Looks like he just took a bath. And what do you guys think's going on right here? At first I thought he might have a fish sticking out of his mouth, but I'm pretty sure that's his tongue. Maybe he just caught a big one and is working on swallowing him. Not quite sure what's going on there. They're out hunting morning and night. Poor little bird. Glowing in the dark right there on the bank. That's cool. So I noticed a bunch of the golden shiners hanging out around the bluegill feeder, and I wanted to see if they were going to eat the protein pellets when the food shot out. So right after the feeder went off, I think they got a little bit spooked when all the bluegills rushed up, because there's usually a lot of commotion and a lot of noise. But after everything settled down, they moved right back in and started eating those protein pellets that were near the bank. The bigger they grow and the more they eat, it's just going to transfer to the bass later on. Man, look at that. They are getting after the pellets in a little feeding frenzy. But I love walking around the pond's edge for the first couple of weeks after we stock them, because you'll see these big dark clouds, and they get in these really big schools, and they're usually in the shallow parts of the pond, and that makes them really easy to see. And that's how I know that they get completely wiped out, because a few months from now, you can make the same loop around the pond and not see any of them. These bass and birds are eating good. Alright, we got one other update here at Cedar Falls. If you guys missed the last video, we added a few bluegills and a few tilapia here. And so far they've acclimated great. You can see some of them bluegills and tilapia hanging out here. They're not too shy. We've got a lot of fish caves that they could be hiding in, but I think them seeing all the other fish out and about makes them not quite so skittish. And I love every time I walk over here by the waterfall, because it spooks a few of those shiners out, and we always have some bass waiting right there for them in the shallow water. And it's a good time to see some fireworks. But look at Moby sitting right down there in between them. He even has a different tint to him. He's got a little bit more of a blue color on his back. Moby, we're going to figure out what you are, buddy. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there's a nice bloom down in the water. We're about to do some fishing. We're going to scan all the bass that we catch with this pit tag scanner. I'll have them linked down in the video description below. And now that they've pretty much wrapped up spawning, we're actually going to try some topwater, including the topwater frog. Got a little frog. Can't believe that. There's a little froggy right there where he's coming through. Little bitty guy. Alright, I doubt this has been caught before. No. Alright, this one has been caught before. 2232665. Looks like a little female. Alright, this fish weighs 0.99 pounds. Alright, so this fish is named Caesar, and the first time we caught him was during the survey a couple of weeks ago. And if you guys missed that last video, I'd highly recommend it. We learned a lot of interesting things during that survey, and had our first 2 bass break bait in the water. Nice one. Shallow
Boom.
water right there.
Data downloaded. Let's go.
Red tail.
Mission
Finally
accomplished
spotted.
on that front.
Wow, this fish has not been caught. Big bass have not been caught. Alright, this fish's new tag is going to be 234016, weighing in at 2.11 pounds. Nice female, hard to believe. Never caught her before. Alright, this fish's name is going to start with an E. So leave those fish name comments down below. We'll try to get this list filled out. Out deep. Surprising. Caught that fish about, I don't know, 9 or 10 foot of water. Spring, that's a little unusual. What we got? Alright, this has not been caught. This new tag is going to be 234062, and it weighs 1.20 pounds. Another one that hadn't been named yet, starts with an F, and we're going to have him named by the next video. Well guys, my camera cut off. I just caught this one right out there at the side of the dock. Beautiful female. Let's see what she weighs. Alright, this fish is 33087, 3.16 pounds. Got a red tail, you can see she's spawning. Alright, this fish is named Delta and has gained about a half a pound since we caught her back in September. Bang! Female. Alright, this fish has been caught. 23272, 1.98 pounds. Alright, this fish is named Oakley, another bass we caught back there in the survey a few weeks ago. And it's interesting, the only two times we caught her with a rod and reel were right here on the west bank of Fuji. Alright, let's check in on the swamp cams really quick because I'm still seeing some strange activity from the deer. You can see the bucks are still trailing the does around here in mid-March, which is unusual activity. They're not chasing them anymore, but they still seem interested. And I wanted to show you this deer.
Oh, shit.
During this time of year. They have all they need down in the woods. They eat all that green vegetation. They got a good water source. There's today is springtime, which means it is crawfish time, and we have been cooking. Nothing better than to gather your friends and family this time of year, big crawfish pool, and some good eating. And if you made it this far in the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button to follow along with all the ponds, bass, and wildlife out here at the Crimson Oak Farm. But I hope you all enjoyed this one, and we will see you all next time. Folks at home, welcome back to the Crimson Oak Pond, home of these aggressive tiger bass. And I'm excited because today we're going to be doing a DNA genetic test on wild bass here in this pond by taking a small fin clip off of this fish, putting
Oh
it in
shit,
this tube,
I'm dead.
and then sending it off to the lab for testing. And one of the reasons for doing this genetic testing is this pond is now 3 years old, so a lot of the data and information we get from these reports will help us make decisions about how to manage this pond in the upcoming years. And I can't wait to see what genetics the world's most aggressive bass that we call Moby has. But there have been a lot of advancements in the last 10 years for genetic testing, especially when it comes to fish. And it's also gotten cheaper, allowing more people to do it. But now that fisheries biologists have data on hundreds of thousands of bass, they've started noticing these trophy markers, and that's a common thing that all of these big bass have. So for each bass that we sample, we're going to get 3 different types of data. The first is what strain they are, for instance, what percentage of Florida versus northern strain they are. And the second is trophy probability, as they look for those trophy markers in each fish. And the third is relatedness and diversity. So how many of these fish are related or siblings, and how many different strains of bass we have here in the pond. But the first one I'm going to talk about is trophy probability. So the biologists at Red Hills have now identified 12 markers that are a good indication of whether or not that fish has a true trophy potential. And I find that fascinating because now you can take samples from these small, newly hatched bass and have a good idea of which ones will make it to that 10-pound or bigger category. And one reason I could see this being a valuable tool for us is because each year we have to remove around 20 pounds of bass per acre, and we're removing a lot of 2 to 3 pound bass. Well, now if we know which of these bass has that potential to get really big, we can keep those fish and remove the other ones that are the exact same size, but without that potential. But I'll also have to point out the fact that just because a fish has good genetics and the potential to become really big doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen, because genetics are only part of the equation. These fish also have to have an abundance of forage food to get that big, as well as good water quality. So basically bass are just like deer, horses, and cattle when it comes to genetics. For example, a whitetail buck could have the best genetics ever, but if he doesn't have enough food and protein, he'll never reach his full potential when it comes to antler growth. So that's why we've always kept this pond stocked with a variety of different bait to help those fish reach their potential. And if you combine that with but this topic is on this perfect example because when we first stocked the pond, all of the bass were the same size, about 2.5 to 3 inches long. And some of them had good genetics and grew up to be 8-pounders, while others are stuck in that 2 to 3 pound range. Now the next thing I'm really interested to see from these reports is the strain of bass. So we stocked this pond with a tiger bass, which is a 50-50 split between a northern largemouth bass and a pure Florida bass. And so any of the first generation of bass that we test should be roughly 50-50. But I'm interested to see the numbers on those second and third generations, because when you breed a pure Florida with a pure northern bass, the offspring get the best traits from each parent. But when you breed a hybrid with another hybrid, sometimes you lose some of those preferred traits like aggression and growth rates. And if you guys recall, 2 years ago we stocked 6 100% pure Florida strain largemouths, and the goal was to have some of these big females spawn in the bass, which will allow future generations of bass in this pond to have better genetics. And a pure 100% Florida strain bass grows better than any other strain, but there's been a lot of debate about their catchability. So a lot of pond owners want to have big bass, but they also want to have big bass that they can catch. And I kind of agree. There's no point in having a 10-pound bass in a pond that you can never catch. But some of the data that we're collecting with our pit tags is showing that some of these ideas aren't necessarily true. For instance, one of the 100% Florida strain bass we put in named Okeechobee has already been caught 5 times in less than 2 years, making it one of the most aggressive bass in the pond. So putting pure Florida bass in a pond could also result in big, aggressive bass. But another thing I've always been interested in is the lifespan of the different strains of bass. For instance, most bass live 10 to 15 years, but some data suggest that the northern strain lives longer because they're slower growing, and while these bass in the south have rapid growth, their lifespan isn't quite as long. But some of our pet bass like Moby are getting on up there in age, as he's about to have his 8th birthday. Happy birthday, Moby. And then the last thing we're going to do is diversity of fish. So these genetic tests can tell how many of these fish are siblings, half-siblings, cousins, or completely unrelated. And like I mentioned earlier, it's good to have some diversity so that your hybrids don't continue spawning with other hybrids, but rather introducing some pure strains to help those genetics. But just for instance, the bass that are living in the pond we call Cedar Falls, we have Tiger, which is a first-generation bass, Johnny and June are second-generation bass, and then Johnny and June also had the first successful spawn in that pond, and that brought us Eve, which is a third-generation bass. And if you missed the last video, we just had another spawn. So now we have some bass fingerlings in there that are 4th generation. And who knows, Moby may have spread some of his genetics in there. But the best part about this genetic
Alright, this is the
testing
part
it's gonna give us
I
more
lost on
information.
last time.
And just like always, the more information you have, the better decision you make. And the best part about having this Cedar Falls pond is it solves 2 parts of the equation, the water quality and the food. Because as you've seen in the past years, there's about 1,000 golden shiners in here every week. So these bass have an abundance of oyster. And with the wetland filter, waterfall, and aqua blocks, these fish have really good water quality, which basically just means that every fish in here can meet their genetic potential. Alright, so now that we know what kind of information we're going to learn from these reports, it's time to go get some fin clips and sample some bass. So we got our package in from the Red Hills Fishery, and it comes with a box that has all of our test tubes in it, as well as a pair of scissors and tweezers. And today we're going to be sampling 12 different bass, and since I had so many fish to catch, I decided to bring the heavy hitter, Liz, out here, and she said that'll be light work. She's got the chatterbait tied on and ready to go. Alright, time to get started taking samples. We've got our Battle Bass Pit Tag Reader Kit, so we're going to scan each one of the bass that we catch and get its pit tag number so we can record it in the database with the sample. And after talking to the biologist, the best place to get a tissue sample is from the top of the tail, because their tails are fast growing and will grow back in 2 to 3 weeks. But the best part is you can get all of the genetic information from a small sample about the size of your pinky fingernail. There he is. Alright, got our first sample. Alright, this fish has been caught 570025. Alright, this fish weighs 2.13 pounds and is 15.5 inches. As you can see, we take the sample right there off the tip of the tail. It'll grow right back in no time. Alright, this fish is named Maverick, and we haven't caught him since 2023. He's one of the original first generation bass that we stocked in the pond, and is a male that only weighs a little over 2 pounds, but he does have a relative weight of 105%, which isn't bad, and he's pretty much been living out here by the diffuser since 2023. Right, Liz got one. It's another nice one. Alright, another fish that's been caught, 569705. Alright, this fish is 16.5 inches and weighs 2.31 pounds. Alright, this fish is named Turbo and another first generation bass. These originals are showing up today for this testing, but we hadn't caught Turbo in over a year and another male bass in that 2-pound range. Alright, Liz on back-to-back cast. She's back to her old ways where I can't even make a cast before she's already got another one in here. Alright, this fish has been caught 570499. Weighing in at 2.68 pounds, 16 inches long. Alright, now this fish is named Viking and is most likely a second generation bass. It's got some decent growth rates and 119% relative weight, which is good. There we go. It feels pretty good. Oh, he's running in the tree. Oh yeah. Good one. Oh no. Oh no. He's got me right up in the tree. Man, that was luck. Pure luck there. Big head, but not a huge body. This should be one of the original bass we stocked. Its pit tag is 570730 and it weighs 3.02 pounds and is 18 inches long. Alright, this fish is named Elvis, another first generation bass, and Elvis was a little shy in the beginning, but we've started catching him a lot here recently. But you can tell with that bigger head and smaller frame, and that relative weight of 92%, Elvis isn't one of the fastest growers. There we go. Little guy. It's a healthy fish though, got that football shape.
Ow, 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 ow. see him anymore. One. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. Six of them. What do I gotta do, man? Oh, they're right there. Connect. Download. Okay, I connected that one. I gotta connect them all now, I think. Connect. 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 Able to download this now? What now? Download. Boom.
Good. One code down. Head over to the research wing and track down the next one.
Wait for the pulse. You got it, baby.
Got you covered.
No, you don't. Ah!
We've got contact.
Yo, that bullshit. What? Ugh. There's a dead guy right here. The dead good guy. Where do I gotta go? I gotta go to the research wing. Yo, what's up, Savant? For real, right? That guy's full scorpioned out. Oy. Alright, I haven't got, this is the farthest I've gotten so far on this section by myself. I hope it does. It's crazy how many shots I took.
Suppressive fire!
What the fuck is going on?
I'm pinned down!
Where's this guy at?
Lay in cover! Shit! Where did that bastard sneak off to?
That's not a... I guess. Do I have a gun? I killed some good guys? Oh, nice. That wasn't nice of me. Access biomass processor data. Access test chamber data. Access region. I gotta access all this fucking data? How do I access all this data? Ah! This guy walking around with no magazine in his gun.
We need to move! They're gonna pay for that.
Crazy.
Find some cover! Where do they go? Shit! Where did that bastard sneak off to? Move, move, move! Suppressing fire!
So the engineering catalyst data and the research data determine what you get. Also, the AI is turned up down there. Oh man, yeah, the AI is really on one. I don't even need to shoot that guy. Ah!
We're under attack!
Friendly hit!
Yes, they are.
Lay in cover!
We just picked up a friendly! Going to cover! Covering!
There's so many of them too. That's the thing. There's a whole bunch of AI down here that doesn't need to be down here.
That should be everything you need. Head back down to Yoren's lab and see if you can get the experiment running so we can download his research.
What? I gotta do some fucking experiment now?
No signs of the suspect.
Suppressing fire! Suppressing fire!
Damn it, one of ours. Need new cover.
Got you covered!
Still.
We've got contact!
Lay down cover.
Covering! Here comes trouble! Covering!
Oh fuck.
Just pick up a friendly!
Oh fuck. They're everywhere.
Suppressing fire. Friendly down. Laying cover.
Got you covered!
Oh my gosh. Come on, man. Why is there only one bullet in this gun?
I'm hit.
Suppressing fire!
Oh my Lanta. What the fuck is going on with my weapon? Do I finally have ammo in it?
Damn it! Suppressing fire!
And I miss all my shots.
Covering!
Laying down cover. Contact. Laying cover.
I'm hit! Drop one!
What the fuck?
Hostile detected! Suppressing fire!
Oh my god, bro.
I'm hit.
Oh, I'm alive!
One less problem to worry about.
What is your name on it?
Ah! Get up! Get up!
Covering! Hostile hit!
What am I doing? Can I get up?
We're under attack.
Suppressing fire!
There's only one way this is going to end.
Here comes
I'm
trouble.
bugged.
They dropped one!
Laying cover.
Oh, let's go! What the hell is going on?
I got hit! Got you covered!
I'm dying.
Suppressing fire!
Anybody got eyes?
What is going on? My guy is bugged.
Covering!
What am I doing? Oh my god.
Shit. Contact. Laying down cover.
Yo, I was like alive and then now I'm incapacitated. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. That's unfortunate. Like I was bugged. I was like stuck in like the lay down animation while like giving myself medicine. Yo, I love when it gives you the animation where it reloads your weapon and it doesn't give you any ammo. Oh man. What up, Dave? I just got bugged right there. That was a hell of a bug. I think all I need to do is get through the research wing, right? After the hard part is done? Okay. That's good to know. Family gathering. Got family dinner at 5 p.m. Nah. I'm gonna be chilling without the PO knowing.
Sniffles or something more serious. Getting the right treatment has never been easier, thanks to the
This is a
advanced
reminder that patients and guests are not
the
allowed.
medical
Decided to
treatment
take
is
a few
always
days
with the
myself.
doctor.
I'm not setting an alarm or planning anything.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Vehicle selected. Staff, please visit us again.
I can never get out of that thing alive, man. The Red Door of Judgment. I don't think I've been to this red door yet. I'm not familiar with this red door. This Red Door of Judgment is scaring me. There's so many steps involved in this whole puzzle. It's crazy. Where is my... Did I already eat my donut? No, I didn't. I knew I didn't. Where's the rest of my donut? Really? And is that like the last part of this whole process? Am I on the last mission? What's going on? What is going on with my... My ship is bugged. My ship is bugged. It won't... Hello? Ay. Bring a sniper? I don't have a sniper. Should buy one? I lost all my snipers. It's somehow part of the quest state, which is dumb. So if you get past it, you can't start the dance party in the lab. What? That's part of the game? I could loot them down there, okay. I don't know what's going on with my ship. It wouldn't, I was hitting spacebar and it wouldn't fly up. I'm gonna bring my tractor beam just in case. Alright, this ship works.
All systems online.
Oops. It works for now. But I'm flying it, so who knows how long it's gonna work for.
Landing gear raised. Shields offline.
Yeah, I have an hour to do this.
Quantum drive.
Do you think an hour is a long enough time? I mean, I was watching, the way I learned how to do this whole mission was watching this guy do a speed run of it. He got through it in about 30 minutes, 29 minutes to be exact. And I've got an hour until I gotta get into the shower and look presentable for family.
Quantum drive is now up.
The whole thing in 29 minutes. You completed it, yep. No, it's great. How far away is this? 181? Now giving me the... We're gonna have to fly there. It's only gonna take about a minute and a half. Flying pretty fast. Maybe, yeah, you could probably do it in an hour. Just shoot and don't loot. Okay. Not 2 minutes away. I don't think I need anything off my dead body, right? I know in the previous ones you had those little fucking data drives. But I don't think I had any data drives on me. I just need to complete what they are asking me to complete or download the rest of the shit. Execute experiment at Site B. Okay, cool. Good to know. Have you been able to do this solo?
Deployed.
When you completed this quest, did you do it solo? I've done most of it solo. Like the last 2 missions previous, I didn't do solo. This one, it's just nice to have somebody to pick you up if you go down. Uh-oh. Woo! Like a glove. I came in there hot. I came in there hot. You soloed this like 40 times around January for the Weekalo stuff? Oh. Then it started bugging out for the time. It wasn't worth it except for Corbell loot farming. Oh, I got you. Do you know if this mission line gives you how you doing with your blueprints? Have you been gathering a bunch of blueprints? I think the mission before this one, after I completed it, it gave me a blueprint. I don't know if, because once they introduced the blueprints, I was already like 3 missions away from where I'm at right now. Or 2 missions? I'm not really know. I don't really know. Palantino stuff for the ASD sites. So I've been doing that. Actually. I got 4 blueprints yesterday of the Palantino set. Oh my god. What the fuck? This dude just blasted me right in my face. Ugh. This whole thing is not working, man. The whole freaking inventory system.
Picking up something strange. Gotta take a look around, see what's going on.
This is where I died.
Laying cover.
Alright, where do I gotta go from here? You could double click them? Oh shit. There we go. You can't drag it anymore.
Suppressing fire.
I don't know where to go from here. Oh, that's great. Two of them just spawn right there. Do I go downstairs? Do I jump downstairs from here? Back to the research elevators and down the elevator. Other think.
Laying down cover.
I'm back where I died. So this is where I'm at. This big ship right here. Do I gotta go downstairs?
I'm pinned down.
That's my dead body. Actually, I'm gonna loot.
Laying cover. Laying down cover.
How come I can't loot?
Covering!
Suppressive fire!
Yeah, go back to the elevator shaft. Do you bounce down? Which elevator shaft?
Covering! Suppressing fire!
This one?
Where do they go? Coward! Show yourself!
This is the elevator shaft I bounced down from.
Anybody got eyes?
Going a cupboard!
Suppressive fire! Ah!
None of them got away.
Laying down cover! Ah! They got me! Ah! Here, cover! Laying
I
cover!
changed it. I think I gotta go downstairs.
Where do they go? Advancing!
Can't dodge forever.
I think I gotta go down here.
Here, cover! Here, cover!
Give me a moment. You come in the worst set, like it's ridiculous. What are you doing? You're not wearing those shoes. You can barely walk.
None of them got away.
You're not wearing those.
Start searching. Target's gone.
There's likely enough.
Covering!
Here, cover! Investigating now. No sign of them. Suppressive fire! I think they got away. Laying down cover! Enemy threat nearby. Searching now. Laying down cover! Suppressive fire!
Next one has your name on it.
Hold still! Oh! I think we got company. Find them.
Going a cupboard! Here comes trouble. I'm down!
Damn it! We lost one!
Ah, they dropped one! Oh!
I'm pinned down! In pursuit of target.
Dude, they just won't stop coming, bro.
Shit! Where did that bastard sneak off to? I'm hit! Here, cover!
Bro, I just don't know what to do, man.
Shit! Where did that bastard sneak off to? I'm pinned down! Here, cover! Hostiles! Waiting cover! Ah! Hit! Ah!
Hey, it doesn't give me execute experiment site B. I don't know where Site B. I wish they would. I wish the marker would show up. I guess I'm not within the.
Fleeing cover. Suppressing fire.
Damn it! We lost one!
Ah!
Find some cover. Here, cover. Fleeing cover. We're compromised. Need to move.
Hostiles detected.
They got me. Find some cover.
There's an all atrium.
I'm gonna put a bullet
Starts from
right
a big
between your
front.
eyes.
Pick up and go left somewhere.
Hostile threatening
Okay.
area, hunting target.
This is the atrium you're talking about. I gotta go through here. See what they got for me real quick. Helmet. Like that.
Suspects in the wind.
Damn it, I lost them. I think they got away.
This is it? This is the red door of judgment right here? Where's the red door of judgment? That's crazy you can't put a backpack inside of a backpack. Trying to get one. Oh, here they all come. Oh, here it is. Oh, no.
We need a medic! Here comes trouble.
Suppressive fire!
Right behind you.
Suppressing fire!
Do I take that elevator?
Got you covered. Suppressing fire!
Where'd that come from?
Do I take that elevator?
Target's gone.
Contact! Cover!
Cover! We're taking casualties.
Hostiles! On the move! Here! Cover!
We need a medic!
I'm down! Advancing!
Exactly, cover friendly!
Laying down cover!
Okay.
Friendly hit!
Displacing! Laying down cover!
Suppressing fire!
Here! Cover! Here! Cover!
They dropped one!
Friendly down! Contact! Laying down cover! Friendly down! Here! Cover!
Got them down!
Got friendly
Whew.
down! Friendly down!
Sub level 1?
Here! Cover! Pressing fire!
Here comes trouble!
Here! Cover! Suppressive fire!
They dropped one! Just a lady in the wall! I'm down!
Suppressive fire!
Got contact!
Laying down cover! Fire! Here! Take it easy on you.
Back to one and then left, I think. There's a broken door with a broken elevator shaft. Okay. The left. Ooh, it's open.
We need to move.
They're dogs. All right, here we go. It's my first time in here. Thank you for your help, Savant. We're a true Star Citizen Savant. It's my first time in here. I don't have much ammo, but I can loot it off somebody. Oh, fuck. That's not good to know. Should go take one of their guns. What is that? Oh, he's got these. Nice. Hell yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up. Where's the other guy? What? Okay. Guessing I go down? What do I do? Call elevator? Yep, call elevator. Oh, this is why I needed a sniper, right? You can snipe them from here? I don't see anybody though. Did I call it? Is this the elevator? How do I? Where's the elevator? Is that the elevator's already up? This is the elevator, right? Okay. There we go. Figured it out. Got 45 minutes. You think I can get through this in 45 minutes? Took a half an hour to get down here. The gauntlet begins. Oh no. Oh, I see him. Oh shit, they're getting on. Oh fuck. Yeah. They're getting on that fucking big Gatling gun. Yeah. They flanked me at all sides. There's nowhere to go. Alright. Well, Savant, thank you for your help. There's no way I'm gonna have enough time to get back here. You all have electric snipers too. Yeah. There's definitely I definitely don't have enough time. I probably do something else before. Can't do this though. Is there like a spot you should like go to and hide out? Yeah, it's tough. Doing that solo is tough. Depending on how the AI is. Like if the AI is cracked like it is right now. Tough. Spawn and then... Yeah, I used to bring a Cutlass Red with me, but anytime I died, even though I got my imprint on my Cutlass Red, it would work it would work 25% of the time, or 30% of the time it would work. I'm gonna do some low flying. I'm gonna go low flying real quick and then...
Security to storage room 3.
I'm gonna call it.
Report to emergency.
I got about 30 minutes. I got 30 minutes to do some flying. Hopefully my arrow works. It'd be perfect craft to go low flying in.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retreat. Vehicle selected. Stand by.
Plus the quest can bug at the very end and you just get armor loot. Wow. That would be horrible. I've had that happen several times, like where it's you have to be in a certain area to kill a bounty, and then the bounty leaves that area, and then you gotta, and if you don't go back to that area to do that first part and you kill the bounty, it's bugged. Let's see if this works. Hopefully my arrow works. Yo, did these guys steal my engine? How come my shit's not working? How come my shit's not working? How come my arrow's not working? I left some randoms in my fucking hangar with my arrow. They might have. Did they steal my engine? Can they steal my components? How come my arrow's not working? So strange that my arrow's not working. It's got all the systems. I don't know why my arrow's not working. Strange. You know what I could do? Actually, I could get one more blueprint. I could get that Palantino armor blueprint. I could get one of them. They changed it. Changed that whole animation of this, the Talon.
Systems activating. Systems on. Landing gear up.
I put on new weapons on my Talon and see how it does.
Shields off. Quantum travel engaged.
Can't hear. I'll track your progress.
Quantum travel engaged.
I gotta go to Crusader or ArcCorp. It's not giving me the... Oh, here it is. Onyx facility. Boom, right here. These two missions give you blueprints right here.
Quantum travel.
For the Palantino armor set.
Contact. Shields on.
Yeah, same. Same. Have you been doing the pirate missions? I haven't done any pirate missions. You guys are gonna be standing still. Am I gimbaled? Now I'm gimbaled. I don't need to be gimbaled. He's gonna crash into the ground? No, he's not. I love the way these guns sound. Only one gun gimbals? Why is that? How come only one gun gimbals?
Target destroyed.
That's strange. So you go, do you know which missions you have to do? It was these ones, right? A chance to impress in all these ones right here. Right? Guess it kind of tells you sometimes. Spawn ones, but you get a CS3 and then some Twitch kid shows up with an Idris to bounty you. I would like that. That'd be nice. Or you could disable the comms array before you commit the crime. You could do that too. The Vaughn ones. Everyone hit the satellites. What, the bounties? They didn't do anything to you in the PTU, but now that's in the actual public server. They fuck with you. Just gonna do some low flying and then call it a day. With the
We'll mark one less shithead on the run. Pleasure doing business with you.
Interesting. Why does the planet look like this? You're not wearing those shoes. You're not wearing any platforms. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? No. No. What do you mean I'm mean? You're ridiculous. You can't even walk. You're gonna wear something that's gonna make it even harder for you to walk? If you want to wear those, you gotta bring your walker. Alright? How about that? Take those shoes off now, before you hurt yourself. I'm not mean. I'm practical. Alright. I gotta call it. I gotta get ready. I gotta take a shower and stuff. Get dressed. Yo, Savant, thank you for the help and the tips today. I should be back later this evening. I might get on later this evening, but if not, for sure tomorrow. I'm always willing to link up with people. I'm trying to actually grow like a nice, not an org essentially, but a crew. Get a crew of people, 5 to 10 people. Do some piracy, maybe some bounty hunting. All of the above. Get into some fucking hood rat stuff. Do some hood rat stuff with your friends, I feel. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch y'all later.